What the fuck are you geeks up to? That's what one guy said to you while you attempted to cast a fun spell on your life. You're just trying to have a good time and not hurting anyone with some other buddies. Surely there are other people besides you who love to escape into the underworld of Termathia and slay the Gonru, Dark Lord of Kamalis. You and your friends leave because after that boy said to his friends, "Check this out," then hit you with a rock shaped like the dagger of destiny, the battle ended on account of an actual injury that could not be fixed by the healing waters of AstraZeneca. You sit in your room later that night on the web, and you find something called a con, and there are hundreds of people dressed like your heroes. Aragorn, Wolverine, and even female characters. And you are safe LARPing in a hotel conference room in Des Moines twice a year from now on. This week, LARPing in cosplay.
Hal, you're good with words. You know that, man?
I think the gym is dumb.
Did Rachel walk in the room? Of course I've eaten a Baconator.
Man, if you ain't doing CrossFit, you can get cross-buff.
You're right. A long burger's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
That's your sitcom right there as a Mr. Fix-It-All who just can't fix his heart.
We will not be defending Atlantic City.
No accounting for taste. If it's something that somebody loves, let's try and celebrate it instead of shitting on it. Shane!
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what was your favorite Halloween costume?
Oh, man. I dressed up. My mother was like, I'm not spending $10 on anything that you're only going to wear for an evening. So we had, I wore the same skeleton costume that had like footies on it for a few years. And it was, I'll tell you this.
You must have looked like a real slob for your first communion.
Well, speaking of playing and pretending, but I had this skeleton costume that I was bursting out of, so I was just like this bag of irony.
Oh, fat skeleton! Oh, look at the fat skeleton.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's not how skeletons work.
And then one year she was like, "You're a werewolf," and she just gave me her faux fur coat and put it on, and she was like, "You're a werewolf," and then she just. He had some eye makeup, and then we went to the firehouse because there was like an event there, like a kids thing there.
Can I just separate this from how this sounds like the gayest thing in the world? I had a faux fur coat on and some makeup. We went to the firehouse for the evening.
God damn it. I can't wait to hear yours, I'm sorry, someone here grew up in a gated community. But... And then I remember like all the kids there had like immaculate costumes for whatever reason. And then I was just like, fuck. And then I was like, because they had a contest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, maybe I'll win it with some pizzazz. So I actually like...
Still going with my theory here.
Turns out I'm just describing RuPaul's Drag Race.
Yeah, you're not changing my mind yet, Shane.
But I remember they were like, "What are you?" And I was like, "I'm a werewolf." And they were like, "Okay." And then I just howled really loud. And they're like, "Clearly this kid's weird." Didn't win. The kid who won was the guy who was judging the competition. Figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kid was dressed as a Dallas Cowboy, and I don't ever remember seeing him in the NFL, so fuck him and his firefighter father.
Hero's my ass.
Yeah. But yeah. And then one year after I graduated high school, I just wore my graduation gown for 3 years. So I am my mother's son.
My buddy Kevin, when he doesn't have a costume, he always just wears a white dress shirt with a tie tucked in and a bike helmet and goes as a Mormon.
I like that. That's like, it's got kind of cheeky and cute.
It's easy and it's fun and it's silly. Sometimes simple, sometimes less is more. But,
and then every time you have a beer, you're like, now I'm a fun Mormon. Or every time you do coke, like I'm backsliding
Pastor
Mormon.
Dan,
yeah,
whatever they have.
What about you? What was your favorite costume?
Touch me in my garlands. Barnyard underpants.
They're called garlands.
Yeah.
I will say this. I was in the Salt Lake City airport, and you notice like when people are taking their socks and shoes off and stuff for TSA, because the garlands will go like down their arms, and past their ankles or whatever. So you'll just be like, there's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to say there's one at the Salt Lake
Yeah,
City.
but I was just like, what? Well, this is so dumb. You know, like,
It's, organized religion will be another topic.
yes,
of,
it will.
no accounting for
But
taste.
yeah, I was. I was just joking.
The reason I ask about
Then I had
Halloween
some
is
3.2 beer at a TGI Fridays.
Oh yeah, craft 3.2 beer. Bad breath, and you can't get drunk off.
Yeah,
it. Thank you.
Not even at altitude.
The reason I ask is because this week we're talking about cosplaying and LARPing, and
I love it.
for me, Halloween is my favorite. I know
you're big on it.
I love it. I love. It's really, to me, it's the only reason I would have kids is to just every year be like, you're this for Halloween.
I like that. I like that your big holiday comes before everybody else's. Like about 2 months in the year, it precedes.
Halloween's it, man. For kids, for adults, dressing up, because when you dress up, you get to lose yourself in the costume. You know,
Yeah.
for one night, you get to get loose and that's it. Like, I'm a werewolf. You're like, fuck, I'm going with it. I'm gonna howl in this firehouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And just go. Yeah. And then how in this fight, you prick. I was sorry. I was like messing with my camera. I caught that dig at the last second, and I was like really into it.
What? I said you howled in a firehouse. That's what you told me you did.
No, I thought you were like, I thought you were throwing a little jab at me. I'm sorry, Kyle.
No, I'm not throwing a jab. I'm saying, like, you were like, I'm in this costume that might not all the way be all the way there.
Yeah.
Convincingly.
Yes. Yeah.
But then me as a person inside the costume will round out. That's a dig. Will round out the rest of the character.
That was the skeleton. That was a different year.
I'm sorry, but just the idea.
Go ahead.
The idea of just in the, like, as a ghost, like a fat skeleton.
It's so
'cause
funny.
Bones can't be.
It's so funny.
We put
The irony.
that
The irony is something like I don't think like James Joyce could have written out.
we put that in the basket for stand up.
Yeah, the candy basket. The candy basket.
Yeah. So that's what I'm like. The idea, like, oh, I'm gonna enjoy this costume, and people love Halloween. You get to lose yourself. Cosplayers do this without the Halloween holiday.
Yeah.
But for conventions, for like getting together and like LARPing and I think furries, which I don't know if we're going to go into too much here because I think that's a whole other world to explore.
We'll get to that another time, I think.
Yeah. But right now
we have to be more prepared for that for sure.
Well, it's a much deeper world.
Yes. Yeah.
That to do it even a fraction of justice, we would have to have a whole episode on it. But that's what I'm saying. So I feel like, when I got into punk rock in high school, and then you'd see kids that are 16 years old in 1995 with like the Liberty spikes and all the shit that people wore in 1977.
Yeah.
I think that's cosplay.
To a degree, yeah. It's
to this day that people that dress like a certain time period, like rockabilly, is just cosplay.
Yeah. It's like, it's all... Like, it's crazy, like, when you decide it's fashion. I get, like, when it moves from cosplay to fashion.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't see the difference between, somebody going, like, I'm from Fantasyland and I want to wear a tail and whatever, versus some band like, what's the band that, like, is just Led Zeppelin, but they're made up of 22-year-old kids right now? What are they called? Like, Gladys Fringe? Or what?
I don't even know, but...
Greta Van Fleet.
Okay.
Yeah. Gladys Fringe, whatever,
Gladys Fringe was
when
I was going to work into the intro too.
But they're sitting there wearing like macrame sweater vests and bell bottoms. Like, that's
costuming. That's a show. That's Broadway. Yeah. Like,
so why is that considered fashion and not cosplay? I guess is my question. And if we accept one, why should we poo-poo the other?
Agreed.
Which is what we're going to talk about in this week's No Accounting for Taste.
Boom, shakalaka.
Well, cosplay. We got some facts up here. Charlene, our excellent producer,
The only reason this ship ever gets into the air. Like
she chose some articles that she did not read herself.
Yeah. Which is fine.
Such as this one from factretriever.com. So you know this is a reliable source. Yeah. So, but it's got a little history here. Some stuff that you didn't know on this article called 26 Exciting Cosplay Facts. The first exciting fact, Shane, is that the word cosplay is short for costume play. Ho! Go. You might need to get up and go find your socks that just got knocked off.
Which comes from the Latin root word of I don't pretend.
Yeah.
That's not a great lead fact.
Meaning tits crammed into a G.I. Joe shirt.
I mean, I guess it's important to actually. I will say this: I would not have known how they came up with cosplay as a for what's the word I'm looking for? Conjunction? I don't know.
I will say that fact number 22 on here at the 30th Worldcon in 1972.
Oh, that was a big year.
Scott Shaw wore a peanut butter costume to represent a character called the Turd. The peanut butter rubbed off, which damaged other people's costumes, furniture, and began to go rancid under the hot lighting. Not surprisingly, food and other messy substances were subsequently banned. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
That is the he's like the least popular person now. Like in a group of people you would assume were unpopular.
It's it's interesting to know about all this stuff, like these Worldcon conventions.
Are they the biggest ones, you think?
It seems like this. This article is where I'm sorely misinformed. They just keep referring to Worldcon, but then don't tell you what it
actually is.
What it was. So anyway, whatever with this list. But learning that, like, okay, it starts with like comic book conventions and stuff, and people representing characters from anime and comic books and dressing up like them.
Literature and other kinds of media, whatever. Yeah.
Which, okay, why not? You see somebody that you admire in real life and you try and mimic their fashion when they're younger. I don't know if you ever did that.
I still do that. I'm grown and I'm still like, that guy's cool. How can I be cool? I guess I'll buy his pants even though he's fit.
But we're taking hints from people. I guess this is just that it goes further into where like people spend a huge amount of time and money creating these costumes.
Yeah.
They put a lot of effort in it, and then they get to go to these Comic Cons and show them off.
Yeah.
It's a lot of nerd stuff. Not in a derogatory term, but because
like nerd
it's from
culture,
comic books.
Yeah.
Comic books and Dungeons and Dragons. It's from those.
We don't have the language to say whatever it should be, so we're going to call it nerd stuff and unintentionally not try to be rude.
Yeah, I mean, I think they call themselves, like, I think the power of the word nerd doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I think people have just taken that word and been like, yeah, I'm a nerd. What do you want to do about it?
I will say, I really like one of the things I'm read off this list I want to talk about before I get into something is those who have leveraged their cosplay hobby into a professional career face copyright challenges from, like, I guess, like, if you're an Instagram person or whoever who like endorses things dressed as Storm or whomever you happen to like or resemble. That's a wild thing you probably don't think about when you really just get super into I don't know. I mean, it seems like it would hurt it a little bit. Like the like if somebody's an incredibly popular cosplay personality and then they don't get to like they're like, hey, you have to, whoever created it's like, you have to stop doing this. You're not. Do you think it stops other people from being interested in it? How am I saying that?
Well, I think
you get what I'm trying to get to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it hurts the person because, like, if anything, from the fan point of view, this is like the highest form of flattery that somebody wants to put the effort into making this costume to mimic this character that was created. But then, like anything where money gets in the way, it's like, well, you're making money off of my creation.
Yeah.
It's, well, is who's making the money? I mean, if you're chasing copyright lawsuits, boy, do comic book guys who are probably already on OnlyFans enough, only there to find copyright infringement on all the cosplay ladies.
Yeah.
I was actually writing my OnlyFans subscription off on taxes because I'm there in order to get money for my employer.
Yeah, people whose search engine's favorite word is toes don't really get to like piss and moan about copyright law.
Which, I mean, why isn't there, like, there's My Little Pony thing. Why isn't there a My Little Piggies type of thing for the foot people?
Oh, we're out there. We're out.
Oh, yeah, you got to think. By the way, I want to say Worldcon is the World Science Fiction Convention, which has been going every year since 1939, except 1942 to 1945 during World War II. I found that from Wikipedia, which is always true and never filled with made-up facts.
I would say that I have... As far as cons go, I've had far more experience than I had realized I'd had at it, or with it, like interpersonal ones. Like, I did, because Conan takes over Comic-Con every year.
Yeah. And
they have, like, a Conan house, and I was invited to come do stand-up at it, and that was very fun. But, like, I think the very good thing about this is, like, when I was there, people were having so much goddamn fun. In a place like San Diego, which is nothing but sunshine and great weather and military dickheads and people who still like surf punk rock from 1996, because that part hasn't changed there at all. Everybody loves Strung Out, which I do too. But like,
a lot of mosh pits full of flat brim dudes swinging at the dad that was never there. For
yes.
Young.
Very much. But I would say the community is outstanding at it. Like, they're all happy. You never see people, like, upset. Like, they're all just there, and they're all just excited, and they're trying to get... And they see somebody from Game of Thrones, literally, who's just kind of a bit actor, and, like, can't wait to have a picture with him. Everybody feels good. It's awesome. Yeah. It makes their fucking day.
I will say, I do like that they hold it in San Diego, where it is just pretty Republicans, and to see, like, just... sweaty weirdos from around the world converge on their city and be like, it's ours this time. Now it's ours.
This is like
Cabo or whatever.
This is like when they celebrate a team or a country that lost a war celebrates a battle they won. It's very much.
Go take your toy hauler with the Iron Cross on the side and go out to Death Valley with your four-wheelers for the weekend because the nerds are taking your city back.
I'm going to walk out of this water in the ocean in a foam costume for one picture.
Well, and I've been down there too, and it is like everybody's put so much effort, not just into travel and arrangements, but then getting the costumes there, and it is like a Mardi Gras type of thing where...
For sure it is.
Like it's this... vibe of celebration. Now, the underlying sexual harassment stuff that goes on, it's like, all right, is it that because this is from
that like I didn't see that. So
I mean, just in general, like there's all this fetishization going on with cosplaying, which is, if I say, if you're not hurting anybody, make money the way you can make money. So if it means dressing up like whichever, Wilma Flintstone, probably not one of the more popular cosplayers out there. But if that's,
I love redhead.
Don't confuse what you like with what everybody likes.
Okay. I was a fat skeleton. Anyway,
fat skeleton is into the Flintstones. But what I'm saying is that, like, I do wonder about that. I see that, like, some of these articles are bringing up that there's a harassment issue, and it's kind of.
Yeah, that's like a
creepy,
terrible
and
thing.
Then, well, but but then people seeing a character that they've done God knows what to in their own imagination, seeing it in real life, like imagine, but
there's not about,
but think about if you dress up like a bad guy, like professional wrestling. There's heel. I mean, it's still athleticism, but then there's these characters, and the bad guy goes out and gets booed. Now, you're cosplaying as a bad guy, and people are going, fuck you, you're a villain or a stormtrooper, whatever the shit.
Yeah.
But then if you're dressed up like one of the anime characters in a slinky outfit, then you got dudes being like, ooh, like creeping on you because dudes are creeps. But I always wondered if the strip clubs in San Diego if they would just like wear costumes during that weekend.
There has to be
like sex workers are just like, I'll go back to Wilma Flintstone. I just don't have another thing in my head for this. But
but like all right, this week I'm the Princess of Skulls or whatever, and
that's a story I want out of Comic-Con. Is what is the sex workers' life like that weekend?
Yeah,
like how many? Just like a steamer trunk of costumes into every Hyatt room.
They call it Geek Week or something. It's just well, there's no sailors in town, so I guess they dress up too. So
they make a bunch of money because every dork is busting their nut in under 5 minutes. So they could just they could work over the whole Best Western in a matter of 2 hours.
It's just like the Starbucks motto. Like, we just got to keep moving coffee out of this place. Like, it's all $2 a pop. Who cares if we make 1,000? If we do 1,000 an hour, we're going to be rich.
I didn't even get my Bride of Frankenstein wig on. The guy just booked through the peephole and then slid $200 under the door. But I think that it's.
So we're trying to be positive. We can't do it.
We're not doing the positive part yet.
Yeah, we're not doing the positive part.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Pros and cons. But it is this. There's this weird sexually fetishized part of it. That was a weird sound.
Sorry,
I had to turn off my
but like
speaker.
you can. The other side of the sexual side of it, I think, is like, oh, this is where I can meet someone who's fine with my weird sex thing about this. Like, there's also, like gatherings, like will create like-minded people, and people within any community are going to be like some of them are going to be a little fucked up. But I think like if you meet the other person there who like is the the Aragorn to your Misopholy or whatever, and you guys we're like,
what those are.
We like this.
Those sound like spices.
They do.
What are those?
I don't know. There's something a fat skeleton would think of.
Well, live action role playing. What's more live action role playing than making somebody wear like a cop hat during sex?
Yeah, it's true. That's true. I want to say this too. My best friend that I grew up with, he works in gaming. He like designs games. And I feel like though, like people who game a lot, some of them might be into like live next to that world of like LARPing and role playing and like kind of stuff. And I was visiting him in Austin, and he took me to a con with his girlfriend, and it was kind of a lower rent one, I guess is what you would say. Like it was kind of like just like a smaller one.
Yeah.
And I was like kind of pissed in this way because I thought people were not getting their money's worth. Like I knew I think he spent $50 on the tickets each or something, and I was like, this isn't worth $50. Like I thought, like there's got to be a shitty version of it too. You know, like Comic-Con's the big good one, right? That's the Super Bowl or whatever.
Yeah.
But like this one, I was just like, fuck this. Like these people are like, the organizers would just seem cash grabby to me, and they're like, the bar has special drinks this weekend, and it was just like, do you want a Japanese Blue Dream? And I was like, no. And then he bought one anyways, and it was just basically like blueberry pucker and vodka. Like it was all it was like it was shitty. Some of them got to be shitty.
But think about if you do live in pick whatever shithole Texas town.
Or Cedar Falls, Iowa or whatever. Yeah.
Or wherever. You're like, you don't have thousands of dollars.
True.
To get to San Diego on a prime weekend with flights and hotels.
Yeah. I guess just because it's not well
everybody's done. Yeah. And you do live in a small town where people might make fun of you for this kind of thing. It's just like how a shitty comedy open mic in a bar in the middle of nowhere is tough. But thank God you're doing it, because otherwise your other option is to drive 2.5 hours back and forth to the closest major city to do it. So any community that's making it, starting from scratch to come up with their own scene,
they're not going to get it all right.
I'll give them credit for that. Also, as far as good and the bad, like I want to make fun of this stuff. I ran into an actual, like, back in the 90s, we were at a skate spot in Chicago, and there was a couple dudes that would dress up in suits of armor and just battle each other. Knights would battle each other on the lakefront.
Awesome.
And one of them, we heard the guy before we ever saw him, because it sounded like it's like 9 trash cans rolling down the hill.
Just somebody's hammering railway spikes next to a house. Yeah.
And he came up with a sword and everything, but still had like a Casio watch on, like still had a digital watch. And I was like, oh, my liege. Yeah. Can you tell me what time it is? Like, made fun of him for the watch.
Yeah.
And he just put his hand on his sword. He's like, are you prepared to die for that comment? I was like, most certainly no. And you seem crazy because you're an adult man in a suit of armor in a metropolitan city. Now,
yes,
one of those guys did get arrested not long after, because that was like early internet. I'm like, what are these people?
Did you know?
That's where I found out. No, I didn't know the person.
Okay.
But then I looked up on the internet, like, guy in a suit of armor, and it's before people knew what LARPing were, and like, I saw that guy too. And it turns out, then somebody comments, there's actually a group of people that live action role play, and one of them like knocked an old lady out of the way trying to chase another knight through the city and got arrested.
God, nothing could be less knightly than like railroading a grandma.
They didn't nail it. Yeah, they didn't nail the honor part.
Yeah, no.
But what's weirder? A bunch of people that want to dress up like fantasy characters and have a great time, or a bunch of people on a train every morning in a suit and tie going to a place they don't like? Nobody wakes up going, I'd love to wear a suit and a tie. Well, maybe a couple people do.
Yeah,
but is that not cosplaying? Is that not just trying to fit in?
I mean,
in your office building?
It's like whatever box you, I guess, you think it checks or whatever, or like, how do I say this? It's not cosplaying, but it's like, it is like, it's kind of worse because it's just assimilation. Like you have to do, like, I was like very anti-dress code kind of kid when I was in high school and stuff. And so maybe that's just like where I source from, but I do think it's the people dressing up like knights or whatever else they dress up as still have wonder in them. Like they still have something in them that makes them think, maybe that's not a gas station, that's a rocket station. Like, they can, like, maybe not exactly to that point, but you get what I'm saying. A sense
of imagination and a sense of fun. Like, why? Yeah. I'm assuming how other people think, which is incorrect, but like, why should fantasy football be a thing the dudes can do?
Yeah.
And wearing a football jersey
is a little...
And that's like, wow, me and the boys.
Oh, for sure. Buddy, I play basketball with 5 other comics in the bubble like a couple times a week when it's warm out here. And some of them wear jerseys, and I have to make a comment. And then I'm like, and then I think about it, and I'm like, well, you're the only one who's actually appropriately dressed for this event. I can't be wearing like a smoked meat t-shirt while I'm running around right before I stub my toe on nothing.
Because that's how you psych out the other people. It's like, oh, look at this guy with his barbecue t-shirt on. He's not going to be any good, and that's your camouflage.
my husky flage.
But it, like, I want to make fun of it. I want to make fun of adults that do little kid shit. Except as I sit here right now, in 3 hours, I have a class for adults at a skate park to learn how to jump a BMX bike I bought, and I'm 44 years old. So who the fuck am I to make fun of somebody that wants to wear a cape and a mask and be like, I'm the tickler. Probably a bad term, but
there's a reason.
Some other kind of, I'm the puzzler, and I'm going to run around this convention center and
there's a reason people are always looking into mirrors in these fantasy realm kind of things. So we have to like kind of absorb ourselves.
Well, the sex part of it is like, okay, do I think it's weird that I think maybe it's not great that women are dressing up like characters from children's TV shows?
And it's being... there's like a little...
sexual element of it.
But isn't this, like, you're not...
But that's not weird for them. It's weird that people pay
like,
for it.
It's like, okay, but that goes into the parent who's like letting their child absorb that and then letting it be... Like, that's not on somebody who might have a healthy relationship, who's a grown woman who's busty, who just dresses up like little Bo Peep. You know, like if she just likes it, it's fine. But like if a kid looks at it, you know, like and then like gets a little pervy about it or whatever, it's kind of on the person absorbing it to fix it, right? Or maybe not a 9-year-old, but maybe it's on that person's parents. Or who's,
well,
does that make sense?
But if you're a hormonal preteen, you put boobs on anything, you're gonna.
Yeah.
Like I know Nazis are bad, but you put a busty Nazi, I'm like, ah.
Yeah, they're still
bad.
bad.
We don't see eye to eye on some things, but
we don't have to see eye to eye for this. And then you. Well,
I mean, sexualizing anything is a risky position. I'm just saying, like, there are some weird. I'm gonna say that dudes that sleep with the or waifus, like the life-size body pillows of anime characters.
That's yes.
I'm gonna call that, and I'm gonna say that that's weird. I'm gonna say that that's not a natural thing.
Yeah, it for sure. There are a lot of examples of it going too far for people, like, or that world kind of. But that's not even LARPing. Like the guys sleeping with the pillows. That's not. I mean, it kind of is. You're yeah. And that's like
I'm this pillow's husband. You are.
Didn't you used to have a joke about putting your ex-girlfriend's t-shirt on a pillow?
Yeah, that's just for the smell. That's just for.
Yeah,
because you're lonely.
Yeah, I get it. Okay, I can't say I don't have jokes like that.
Yeah, then now we're back to criticizing ourselves. How do we judge loneliness?
Yeah,
how do we judge how one copes with loneliness?
I will say this: remember when the panned Star Wars prequels came out and people hated it? Whatever the the ones that happened like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
This is what I will say that I think is good about it. Everybody in my town went and we filled up this theater for the most part, right? In downtown Fort Worth. And 2 guys walked in full-on Star Wars regalia. One guy was Skywalker and the other was Han Solo.
Yeah.
And people were fucking cheering. And I was like, that is awesome. Like, this guy is getting his moment. Probably hasn't had one of these before. And he was very gracious. Like, he waved and did like a little thing with his fucking lightsaber. I was like, this is cool. Like,
yeah. Let him have it.
Yeah.
My only really fondness of those sequels, I think I watched the one with Jar Jar Binks and I was like, I'm out. Like I folded early in the game on Star Wars. But watching Triumph the Insult Comic Dog at the premiere.
It's one of the funniest things I have ever seen.
And did we realize that we were watching a puppet make fun of people in costumes?
Yeah.
Hold on. Look at this puppet taking these nerds to town. Look at this grown man hiding behind a sock puppet to insult people.
Hurting these people who haven't done anything.
Yeah. And to go to it, look at how much of them were well aware.
And having a blast.
Are so much more aware, like, yeah, I do this. I'm already dressing like a thing. What are you going to do? Call me a nerd? You think I wasn't ready for that shit?
Get on it. Like, what?
They got more resilience than I think we realize.
Unless you have a belt buckle that looks exactly like my dad's, I'm not afraid of you. Like, that's what those people. Yeah. I think this is, we should jump and like get what some of the people think on this.
Let's do it. I will need a picture of that belt buckle, by the way.
Yeah, it just says Brad's.
Brad's?
I don't know. Could have thought of a better name.
Your dad's name is Brad Torres?
Well, Simon Elizondo Torres Jr. is a hard thing. You need the whole belt for that.
Simon Elizondo.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's go to the callers.
Another killer transition. All right. Every week we like to hear from you guys, me and the kitty cat. So let's take some of our calls. I don't know if I
meow.
Meow meow meow. Come on, meow meow. Meow.
Nope.
Just do this. Just do like that. And just
I am not a cosplayer.
I think we've established that you are. Can we do the first call, Charlene? Jealousy.
Hey Kyle, hey Shane, love you guys. My thoughts on cosplayers and LARPers. Really should have thought this out before I called. My first thought is jealousy. I think that their ability to just like live their lives and do what they want without any concern of what, people who are not in the community think of them. I think that is a freeing mindset. I think that, they know who they are and they're unapologetic about it. And I think that that is a trait that should be envied. I'm sure that if LARPing and cosplaying were the coolest things to do in town, I'm sure that you would see a lot more people doing it because they secretly want to, but they don't want the ridicule that follows with it. All right, well, that's a quick blurb of my thoughts. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Love you too, buddy.
Yeah. Smooches.
Healthy take.
I think great, honestly. Like, also, I do think if it was more popular, people would just be into it. Like, and it's just super popular anyways.
But that's what I mean. I think the essence of it is popular.
Yes.
Between Halloween and dressing up when your sports team's playing, like the elements of it exist all over the place. Mm-hmm. It's just this is like the most prominent more complicated one, and so it's an easier target.
Yeah, I first of all, I really do like this guy's approach. Like that, he's like, like when he says like that is a feeling I've always been envious of. Is like people who just do what they want and they do not care. Like I am certainly a person who I know deep in my core I don't really give a shit what other people think if I'm doing the right thing or I do what I'm like and I'm not hurting anyone. But I'm certainly a person who looks at themselves in the mirror 5 times before they go out and thinks, do I look cool? Or do it like, like I do shit like their lack of vanity as far as other people are concerned is awesome. Like them just meaning like what other people think of, whether or not they look cool outside of their community. I love it. I think it's fantastic.
There's something about stepping out. Like, you got to feel yourself.
Yeah.
Like, Rachel make fun of me. I'll just change my T-shirt 5 times.
Oh, I do that shit too.
With a jacket that's going over it. And it has nothing to do with how it's like, I'm feeling this T-shirt today.
Yes.
This is the mood I'm in today. This is going to help me get out into the world.
Yeah.
Rather than, I hope somebody likes this
strut.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody saw the other 4 I tried on and said, good thing you picked that one. It's like, nah, now I feel this is what I want to present.
Yeah, this one's just black enough, but not too black or whatever.
Like I mean, every time in the regular times, going to a concert, you still look at your outfit like, I don't want to.
You can't.
I want to fit in with this group of people that have a shared interest.
Yeah, for sure. I will say
that is cosplaying in a sense. If you're,
if you're going to a punk show. I will say this. As far as your T-shirt changing goes. Yeah. I toured with Jesus Trejo when we were opening for Bert this summer, and he goes, man, I saw Kinane at the Comedy Store. He just looks so fucking cool. Like, so I get, like, and I was like, yeah, he's a cool guy, and he was like, he just looked like cool, and I was like, all right, man. And then I was like driving around in the rental car with him, and we were just listening to like Morrissey songs because like that's another thing that we could probably get
because you guys are both Mexican.
Yeah, see. But I really do love this guy's approach to it. Like it's like he seems like he has a positive outlook on it, and I really like that.
Yeah, healthy look at it.
Yeah. Let's do another one. Can we, Sean? Will you please play? It just says does not like cosplay.
How the fuck do people have, number one, the energy and the time to just go around in a costume all day, like Halloween, all the fucking time? Look, I get like the once a year thing, but like multiple times a year going to places where people just get dressed up. I mean, that sounds fun, but Jesus Christ, that money and that effort for nothing in return? I don't know. It seems kind of sketch.
Well, thank you for calling in.
I guess that's the house that gets toilet papered on Halloween.
Well, again, I go
Lights
back
off,
to my,
no more candy.
I go back to my argument. This sounds like someone who is burdened with the complications of real life and has lost the sense of imagination and play and joy. It does.
Awesome.
It does sound like someone who's a parent and is exhausted.
Yeah. It just does sound like that woman's Christmas tree has nothing but unwrapped presents underneath it. If there is a Christmas tree.
Yeah, I appreciate. Thank you for calling in and having an opposing
for sure.
opinion. And that is my default. Like that's where I want to go first, and I have to challenge myself to think second because, like I said, like to have the energy to like put on a. Have you ever just been to a wedding and by like 9:30 p.m. you're like suits are the dumbest fucking thing ever, and you're like. Everything's off. Yeah. The jacket's crammed under a chair.
Yeah, it's like, why do I treat this thing I wear twice a year so with so much like care, and I don't care about it. And I wear these goddamn fuck that. I bet those costumes are
how often do you go to church? You know, you want to see the priest wearing all the smocks, the holy smocks, and what have you. And that's weekly cosplay.
Yeah, that for sure is. And
that's a outfit to represent a character and a person in this the church.
That's why that's why I take Catholicism over Christianity in general because there's a little bit of theatrics to it. They're not just some guy.
There's some showmanship.
Not just like some guy dressed who manages an Auntie Anne's pretzels in the mall.
No, you know that when you donate to that church, it's not going to some sad sack poor family. It's going to another golden chalice so you could all drink wine out of the same cup and have a holy canker sore that you can all show off the next week.
Holy canker sore is gross. I don't. When she says like the time and the money, my one real issue with this woman on this call is that she goes, for nothing. Yeah, is what she said. Like she's like, you're doing all this for nothing. I'm like, it's not for nothing. Somebody is doing this because they're having fun. You know, so it's an experience that they're spending money on. It's not a. It's just basically it's basically the same thing as a person who's like, don't get me a gift, get me an experience. Like that's what this person likes. This person who dresses up.
Yeah, I think this call says more. It says more about the caller than it does. I'm like, I think I want to hear from this person again.
I do.
And I think I want to encourage them to find something to do only because they like it. Yeah. Don't worry about reward. I mean, that can be said about all the cosplay. Although there is rewards, there's acknowledgement from your group of friends, like the contest about who has the best one.
Yeah, there's like a listicle Charlene found, a bunch of them, of people just being like, and some of this shit is amazing looking.
Oh, I go on Reddit and people have like fully articulated wings that come out from the back, and they're like, I spent 140 hours on this. And I want to be like, you could have done anything else, but they didn't want to. They wanted that, and they want a little bit of glory for the effort, and good for them.
And I will say this, the person who spends 140 hours doing that for free is also the guy who makes a movie you love that's a horror film look badass at some point. It's the same. It starts from the same place. Like,
true. Yeah.
There's a person there who just did something because they loved it. And then maybe they made a thing you don't even recognize you fucking like. You know, like, you know how scary Pinhead was to me and how much I love it now? You know, just on the way it looked? Yeah. And I would have hated that.
And we're both sitting here as quote unquote professional comedians that don't have day jobs because we did shit for free to empty bars for years and years for little in return other than the self-satisfaction of going like, oh, the two drunks who never shut up for any other act listened to me and laughed at my jokes at midnight on a Tuesday. Yeah. I got the energy to make it till next Tuesday to try it again.
Agreed.
So I like that we have an overwhelming amount of positive calls.
We do.
Let's go to LARPing is awesome. Let's go to that one.
Okay, so let's talk about LARPing real quick. I think it's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Fun little story. When I was about 12 years old, and I was just learning about Dungeons and Dragons, I was super into Star Wars and fantasy, all the traditionally pretty nerdy stuff. And so someone told me about Dungeons and Dragons, and I was like, oh, sweet. This sounds awesome. Let's do it. So I show up, people are dressed up, and they bring out, like, the graph paper and figurines, and I'm standing there like, what the hell is going on? And they're like, what? Sit down and play. I'm like, where are the swords? When do we fight? And they're like, oh, it's roll it. And they explained Dungeons and Dragons to me. I was like, oh, what I thought it was LARPing. And I was super excited to go LARP, but I was not into sitting in a basement playing craft paper games with dice and figurines. So I really wanted to LARP when I was younger, and but by the time I got older and it was actually a thing, I think there's a pretty big group locally to me in northern New Jersey that does it a lot. But as I got older, my focus has just kind of shifted to things like skateboarding and women. So I think it's rad, even though I don't participate. And I really wish I had gotten into it when I was like 12, but I don't even know if it actually existed then. Yeah. Have a good one.
Thank you for the call. I want to know what a LARPing group in northern New Jersey looks like.
You's got that goblet of fire I was wanting? My dad's in sanitation.
You come at me saying anything other than Slippery and Wet is the best Bon Jovi album ever created, I will fucking dice you with my broadsword, all right? Now, let's go.
I'm talking thin cut, just like they do down at Giuliari's or whatever.
Wait, original Giuliari's?
No, of course, original Giuliari's. What am I? A goddamn third world goblin demon from the underbelly? Come on, who you talking to here? Chef's kiss. Mwah. We don't have chefs.
we got a boiled covered leper who stews our mutton in with mead for a special treat.
Iron kettle burn.
Did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, and this they're not the same. LARPing and cosplay aren't the same thing, but I do feel like they kind of live next to that. That's the same neighborhood, if you will.
Yeah.
I played it a couple times. I had a couple buddies who played it, and I will say I definitely had fun a couple times. And this is something I forgot to talk about earlier. But you're from the suburbs of Chicago. I'm from the south side of Fort Worth, basically suburbs. You hung out in a Denny's longer than you should have in high school.
Still do.
Yeah.
I'm still there, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of me always will be. Now it's a car title and auto loan place. But then we would go there, just bullshit, whatever, not go home. And then there was this guy that was always a regular there named Chris. He was nice. He was always reading. And then he was just like, well, you guys could play GURPS with me sometime, which is stands for Generic Universal Role-Playing System. I remember that.
What fucking Christian family came up with this game?
Well, I will tell you
we
this.
We just do good deeds. It's all angels, and all they do are favors and good deeds.
It's like that episode of The Simpsons where Bart and Lisa have to go live with the Flanders family, and they're playing Christian board games and shit.
Yeah. GURPS.
Which is so close to herps, which is so close to not fucking.
Close to burps.
Yeah.
It's close to a lot of things
yerps.
That are better than GURPS.
You remember that time that baseball player got a case of the yerps? But we were like, yeah, we'll play. What else are we doing? And so he was like, this is what you do, just these are the things you just need to know before you play. It's like, great. And he was the dungeon master or whatever. And then we start playing, and it was just we were like, okay, you're playing the game. And then for some reason, a prostitute or a brothel got introduced by this guy who was drinking coffee alone in a Denny's all night. I know you can't believe it. And then it's just she's got internal muscles that could make a man cry. We were just not touching these dice anymore.
Oh, shit, my mom's here. Okay, see ya.
Yeah. So, as far as the Dungeons and Dragons parts go, my experience with it wasn't great. But I do think that's it's still kind of a nice thing that encourages an imagination. It's certainly not the same as LARPing, but I think that one leads to the other. It's the marijuana gateway drug of LARPing.
You dress up when you play it?
We didn't dress up. I think I have friends who definitely would have. Okay. But it was very I'll try this because my friends are into this, but I was never the person who was initiating it.
I just wasn't around it. So I didn't know. Yeah. And I wanted, this is not entirely, I think one of my favorite cosplayers or types of cosplay is whenever like a third world dictator has like all the medals that he's made up for himself.
Yeah, it's basically Tom Cruise's like Scientology Medal of Valor kind of.
Yeah. Like, well, medal for getting up early on a Tuesday. Fit that in there, stuff. Because I just think about like when all like you think about like the war room or something where all the generals, like the scenes of like the United Nations, everybody's got all their outfits on, and then they're just playing an elaborate game of Risk. And like guys stand over those dangly medals, just pushing little soldiers around a map which represent actual human death.
Yeah, there has to be a guy who just sees like all the medals Kim Jong-un has given himself. And it's just like, this fucking look, mine's real. Like I did that. I don't care if you're not on my side, but you need to recognize that I'm the one who actually shot all those people. And then, like...
Well, but there's, I mean, they're all... Rich Limbaugh got the medal presidential, whatever the fuck, from...
Yeah,
old dickhead.
Fuckface
like,
orange.
So you know these things don't mean anything.
Yes!
They only hold value from who's giving it.
If it's value...
If you don't respect the person giving it, then the medal has no value.
Agreed. Yeah, so I did think about, like, I love the Kennedy Center honors. Like, because I just think like it's just American culture and people are being introduced. Anybody who had to go in under Trump probably was so bummed because like it's like I remember one of them was like LL Cool J was getting introduced one year or like inducted into the Kennedy Center honors, and I was just like, you're better than this, man. And it was under Trump. Like I was like, I don't even know if I like LL Cool J, but like what a shitty way to go in.
Well, I don't even know what it means. I don't know what the Kennedy Center
They're
honors.
just like kind of this like American, just celebrates American culture and people who have contributed to it, like through arts, media, business. Like dance.
Yes, Around the Way Girl should be held in high regard.
They're like
Philip Sousa.
I don't care. I mean, LL Cool J, who gives a shit? It's not like I think of him as a great artist or anything.
I think his work in CSI Los Angeles is really.
Yeah, but then like
of all the rappers involved with crime scene investigation television shows, ladies love Cool James has surpassed.
I will say the one year it was like. I was watching it, and Obama was like Mel Brooks and and Bruce Springsteen, and you're like, well, that's a good group. And then you're just like LL Cool J and some guy who invented water basketball.
Yeah, it is the general thing with all the pageantry that goes into that. Seems like
it's awesome.
Cosplaying.
Yeah. That went way off the mark. Let's do another call. Sorry about that. We'll get it together.
That's all right. Let's go to It's a Win-Win.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, Kyle? Just saw your Instagram.
What am I,
post
chop liver?
Sorry, leave a message. So you want to know about cosplayers. Let me tell you. Some of the hottest women I've ever seen in my life are doing it. Some of the crazy hottest men in my life are doing it. It's something for everybody. It's a beautiful art form. It shows if you can sew, you can be a cosplayer. And it's fun. It's fun. There's no harm in it. And if it's a sex thing, guess what? It makes it a little bit spicier. So it's a win-win situation. That's all I'm saying. Cosplaying is great. No harm, no foul. So that's my 2 cents.
Atta boy.
Keep up the good
Hot
work.
people are doing it. Oh, he was still going.
Oh, yeah, all right. He's gone now? Okay.
Hot people are doing it. And if hot people want to do it, then anybody can do it, I guess.
Isn't it amazing how much he, once he was like some of the hottest women I've ever seen, and we were both just like, our shoulders hit our ears. And, and then he was like, and dudes. And we were like, he's fluid. It's fine. Maybe. Who knows? But the crafting thing isn't a thing we haven't talked about yet, which is actually like a good point. It's like costuming, another thing that I think like we enjoy and we don't even realize it.
Well, there's another call on here I want to get to that talks about what the craftsmanship of it. But this guy, if it makes sex a little spicier,
who cares?
All right, man. This guy just seems like he's just down.
Yeah, it's like, Fuck
He's
it.
just down.
You do you, and Steve's gonna do Steve, and we'll meet somewhere in the middle.
This man goes with the flow.
Yeah.
And there is never not some flow. He's going.
Yeah, this guy's wings are always mild. Dude, the next,
I like that attitude, man. Thanks for the call.
I do too, actually.
More positive stuff. I'm glad that whoever we reached out to with our little Instagram stories asking for calls.
Yeah, and they're like,
it's not jerks.
It's nice to know the people following us aren't just like, they're fucking geeks. You know,
or maybe they are. I don't know.
Yeah.
Charlene picked these calls out. Maybe
she cleaned it up.
3 dozen more.
Or is there just one guy just smashing beer cans, Charlene?
Listen, man, if you want to suck dicks, that's your business. I don't need you wearing a Batman mask while you do it, okay? Just suck the dicks.
Yeah. By the way,
don't ruin Christian Bale's greatest role just because you want to be a pervert. Anyways, the Northern New Jersey's LARPing committee weighing in.
So weird. Let's do the next call. Northern New Jersey's LARPing community.
Let's go to LARPer. Let's go to LARPers. What's that one? Let's see what that one is.
Hey, so I heard we were talking about LARPers today, which is right up my alley. I actually did LARP for about 2 years in 8th or 9th grade.
Awesome.
I was the youngest person in all the events by a solid 20 to 25 years, but I'll tell you, it is super fun. The dressing aspect of it really kind of takes the shame out of it and lets you get into it a little bit more. Have you guys ever seen the movie Role Models, the last scene where Paul Rudd's beating the crap out of some guy and he goes, yeah, it's fun though, right? It's pretty contagious. That about sums it up. Whacking the hell out of somebody with PVC pipe wrapped in foam is about all you need at the end of the day. So it's phenomenal. I highly recommend. That being said, the stereotypes do hold up, but whatever. They're all fucking weird anyways. So, all right, Mike.
I love it.
I hope being the youngest person at a LARPing thing is not like, have you ever been in a position where you're just a kid? You're like, oh, these adults really respect me and are treating me like one of their own. And like, I'm being groomed for sex. Like, I'm like, oh, this is not. Oh no, why do I always get picked to spar during this Taekwondo class? This instructor knows I can't fight back and he always pins me for way too long.
Yeah. I will say, like, they got to stop once your costume is off, they can't call you Squire anymore. You know, like, that's where the line is as the adult. You know, like,
yeah,
you need to, like, if you're sitting in a fucking IHOP, sorry, like, you're just having hamburgers at that point. You know, like, there's no, like, I think it's fine, but you just cut the line where the line should be cut. You know, like, yeah. But it's the age thing.
The health.
Yeah, the health is weird. But
hopefully it's just like a martial arts class. Like, we're all just people trying to learn a funny thing.
Let's get to this part real quick, because I think, did you have like an older cousin or a guy who's a few years older than you who just gave you the cool album that helped you like something?
I did, yes.
This isn't that far from that. This, like, him being the young guy hanging out with older people, like, that are into things he's into.
I am holding on to the idea that it was an innocent, like, we like doing this and it's cool that you're into it too.
Yeah.
Let's shepherd you through this.
Well, he says it's awesome. I don't think
entertainment.
If somebody took some trauma from it, would be like, this is the greatest thing that ever happened.
It's just I hate that I always go to like the predatory thing. There's always this old dude at the punk shows who like had a home recording studio. And all the stories were always like, he would like do it for real cheap. And it's like, oh, cool, we can get a record made or like a 7-inch made because this guy is in the music. And then it was always like, the studio's real hot. So if you guys want to take your shirts off, that's okay. And everybody's like,
Yeah.
But then because it was punk rock, we're like, we think he was beating off in there, but fuck it, man. Where else are you going to get studio time for $20 an hour?
Yeah, I think I get it. If it's not predation, or predatory, I'm sorry, then it's fine. And I also think it's just the same thing as like your uncle giving you a Queen album or whatever it is you know, like that. Like
GURPS. Your uncle gave you GURPS.
GURP, yeah, he would have given me GURP. His name was Chris. He wanted to give me GURP.
It's GERD. It's herpes. It's throat herpes. Let's go. Okay,
I think it's just like it gets passed down. I don't think like maybe that guy got some really cool books from these people that he might not have known about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This next call we have coming in actually calls out one of our pals who has been kind enough to jump on and listen to the call with us. First, welcome to the show, Mr. Brian Cook. Brian, thank you for being here.
What's up, boys? How's it going?
And, it's good, man. Good.
As we filled you in on what we're doing with the show, we got a call. We take just listener calls, and this one is from a fella named Mike who says he knows you in Maine in regards to LARPing and cosplay. So let's give it a listen.
A rather extensive voicemail.
You can weigh in, Brian.
Can't wait. All right.
What's up, Shane? This is Mike from Maine, and this is my story that involves Brian Cook and LARPing. So, growing up in Maine, my brother, I'm the youngest of 4 kids. My brother is 7 years older than me, he was best friends with Brian Cook in high school in Western Maine, which he has the best things to talk about, that miserable bastard. But I always grew up really young thinking like my brothers were like the coolest people in the world, and then later on realizing they were the biggest fucking nerds. All we do is watch Monty Python, and they had a LARPing crew. They literally they did D&D every weekend, and then they like had kilts and smocks and flower powered like magic missile bombs and staffs, and would talk so many British accents. It was amazing. Brian was adjacent to this, but he definitely participated. You guys can call him on this shit.
Oh, we are.
But it was
video called him.
It was as a little kid. It was so much fun. Like, this is the coolest shit ever. Getting older, like, you are the nerdiest dudes ever. I still loved it. I love it to this day. But I still want you guys to clown on Brian because he's. I love seeing you guys in Portland. I think Shane, you opened for Kyle in Portland. Jesus, that was like 5 or 6 years ago.
Mike's drunk.
Please come back. I'm probably gonna move out, but like, yeah, love you guys. Any other questions you have about Brian's children's past and when he was trying to make a prog rock band in high school? I remember seeing that when I was 12 and I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? But you know, that red hair
still going. We're still going?
Yeah.
Love ya. Take care.
The thing, I forget what he said exactly about like, that red hair. It's going to do what it does.
First of all, Mike is full of shit. Mike doesn't remember anything because he was a fucking 9-year-old when all this was going on.
He's not an infant.
Yeah. He was not around. He was not at our high school. He was a little kid.
He wasn't in the woods when you were wearing your kilts and smocks.
Listen.
Kilts and smocks is confusing.
I never
just
fucking wore a kilt. I never did any goddamn LARPing. I never did any goddamn cosplay. Rick Young, Sam Wood, Rick Young, Rick Coffin, and Johan Matsky were the 4 fucking nerds that did that shit. And I was friends with
Johan
those
Matsky,
guys.
is that his actual name or is that something he made up?
No,
I'm gonna guess Johan moved there in high school.
Do you remember his
Rick
LARPing
Young,
name?
Rick Wood, Rick Smith, Rick Lou, Rick Tommy,
and the Crusher of Skulls, de Hellebon.
Yeah, dude.
So you were not part of this. You never did this.
Never did it. They would do it outside. They would do it at school. Like, they were such fucking over the top nerds who didn't care that they would never lose their virginities, that they would do this like on the soccer field when it wasn't being used. They had like armor made out of fucking carpet, and then they would have like sticks with pads on the ends, and it was the nerdiest shit ever. It was fucking insane. And Mike,
we will just be making a GIF
correct.
out of you doing this. But
and then you were there just practicing your drumming in 10/8 time or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Trying to listen to Neil Peart, you fucking nerds. Did you have a prog rock band in high school?
Yeah. I wouldn't say prog rock. I had more like a shitty jam band, even worse, honestly, than prog rock.
So what you're saying is you scored their fight scenes, but you never participated in them?
Yeah. No, me and this dude, Dawson Hill, who actually went to college with Lizzie Cooperman. They went to Emerson together.
Well, now I think that's a great place to go, is the crossover of LARPing, cosplay, and your fantasy metal prog rock world. Because as much as you want to make fun of one or the other, they overlap.
Oh,
there's an overlapping there. Like Rush was the soundtrack to a lot of D&D games, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I fucking hate Rush too. I don't know how I'm getting lumped into this. Well, you get Rickwood.
Man, it's crazy. Right now, you're just like Ted Cruz. Like, I was only going to Mexico to drop off my kids. I kind of know. Like,
you guys don't even know the right nerd shit to call me out on. It's not LARPing and fucking prog metal. I'll tell you that. You know, I was in marching band and played fucking ska.
Yeah,
I just saw a picture of you with a braided goatee, and
I guess we'll be hearing from Mike again on
this. Well, all right. So we'll have another episode where you can defend all your high school tastes, Brian.
Good.
But you were there. You would sit there and watch your pals do this.
Oh, absolutely not. I would walk by and fucking hide my head in shame that I hung out with these guys.
Okay.
How did you hide your head with that large marching band hat? That's what I want to know.
In the oven.
Look at these nerds. Boing, 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 boing.
Well, you know, after football season, you put a little paper mache around that hat, and then you got a whole new costume, buddy. That's great.
Absolutely.
Marching bands. It's like soldiers with horns. Well, I appreciate you calling in, Brian. We just wanted some clarity on your friend who sounds...
He definitely sounds like you and him have enjoyed a few glasses of mead together, or whatever.
No, that's Maine. He's on pills. It's definitely pills.
Yeah, Mike, you're a good guy, but you're full of shit. We can get his older brother on here. He'll take my side. You do that right the fuck now.
I would actually love it.
We do have a time frame to handle. Well, Brian, thank you for weighing in on this. We just wanted some clarification. We felt, knowing you did deserve to present your own end of this.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Fuck you, Mike. Thanks, guys.
It's good to see you, man.
Likewise.
Stay safe. That was great.
All right, let's go to this. I think the last one, I fucking love it, and we could just close it out.
There's no way this is the right number. Okay, for you guys used to have a message being like, "Hey, it's us." So now you got nothing. So whoever receives this, so cosplaying, I am a 29-year-old man. I work construction. I have a mustache. I'm currently building a shed. I fucking love cosplay. Okay, all of the different techniques of painting and just the sewing alone, the sheer amount of sewing is astounding, and I applaud anyone who puts themselves out there to be their favorite character. I can grow a little stubble, so I had that. I was the Punisher before. It was this weird symbol for police officers to think that they're like the coolest shit, even though the reason why he's the Punisher is because of corrupt police and corrupt everything. But yeah, I was that, and then I was a couple other things. But yeah, I don't know. I love it, and it's fantastic. The thing is, if you're going to do it as a group, be ready to just bail and be like, hey guys, if you don't want to do this, don't do it. But also, if you bail, you better fucking tell everybody, because I showed up as just some motherfucker from goddamn Game of Thrones, and nobody else was dressed up, so I was just a piece of shit in a tunic. All right, have a good one, guys. Love you.
I think, first off, wasn't Motherfucker an actual character in Game of Thrones? I never saw it, but I thought that was a whole storyline.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, he was the handsome lead of the party. I guess that's true. I just love it. It's like, I was just a piece of shit in a tunic.
I'm glad he addressed the craftsmanship. You forget about that part. It's not so much even being the character. It's that the work that's put in. The toiling over it, hours of your own personal time to put into it.
Yeah, there's a skill involved. I think I like I will say this. I love that he talked about the crafting and like that there's an actual skill set that goes into it. But what a group of shitty friends to not tell him that. You're like, what you just fucking just shove him right in front of a train? You pricks. Good for him for holding on to it and then going into a masculine profession like construction and still being like, I like this enough. This guy's got some backbone.
Yeah. I like that a man that's in construction can appreciate other forms of construction.
Yeah. Agreed.
Tailoring is still construction. It's just a construction of outfits.
I like
it's the assembling of things.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Some people build skyscrapers and some people build shoulder pads. Same.
Yeah. But you've got attention to detail and craftsmanship are valuable in both.
Agreed. Yeah. And one of them doesn't have to be inspected by the city. And I like that too.
Well, buddy, I think this was I think I've come around. I still want to make fun of him all the time, but that's because I'm a loser.
Yeah, I still want to tease.
I'm short-sighted.
I for sure still want to make fun of them. Never to their face, but like to you when we're drunk, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
behind their backs, like the real men we are.
Yeah, like with the courage we possess. But
hey, what'd that grandfather on a BMX bike and that fat skeleton say about my Superman outfit?
Stop me if you heard this one. I like it. I appreciate it, and the thing I will take the most from it is like these people still have imagination, which is something the world needs more and more of. So I like that they keep it, and they still hold on to some wonder. I think that's awesome. I really do. I wish I had more of it.
I think that's a beautiful way to end this episode. Some people still got imagination out there, and more people should have it.
Agreed. So everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you to Brian Cook for calling in and being a good sport. Thank you for Mike. I cannot wait to see the response we get on this. And more thank you to Charlene, our producer, who does all the real lifting. Mm-hmm. I'm Shane Torres.
Oh, I'm Kyle. I'm Kitty Cat Kyle Kinane.
There you go. Meow, 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 meow. And we'll talk to you guys again next week. Thanks for hanging out.